So what is going on, everyone? Fernando Silva here with another video, and Apple released iPadOS 15 Beta 6 a few days ago, and what I wanted to do is kind of walk you guys through some new features that we did find, even though there aren't too many, but then also kind of show you guys what the performance has been like, what the battery performance has been like, because that's what I like to do with these follow-up videos, just to make sure that I guess Apple's on the right track and that these beta programs are actually getting better every single time we update it. Because that's the idea. Every time we go from a beta 1 to 2 and keep going all the way to whatever that is, the beta 10, when it does finally come out, the idea is for it to get better, incrementally better over time with bug fixes, performance updates, and then overall just features, right? So without further ado, let's get into this video and see exactly what we got going on. So let's hop right into this video, everybody. And to start off, just to reiterate that we are on beta 6, so iPadOS 15 and beta 6 right there. So 19A5325F. And we, like I said, we're on beta 6, which means we're probably gonna get at least another 2 or 3 betas, maybe even 4 betas to get to that beta 10 standpoint before, you know, that mid to late September release of the new iPhone 13 or the iPhone 12s, which will give us iOS and iPadOS 15 to the entire public. So like I said, we're probably about 4 to 5 weeks away before we get that final release, and then eventually everybody's gonna get it, which is awesome to see. And moving forward, like these betas are getting higher and higher in the number and in the letter, of course, getting closer to the RC edition, which means that these are going to be mostly bug fixes, improvements, very little actual tangible features that are going to be noticed throughout the OS. But we did find a couple new features that I did want to show you guys. So the first one is actually if you go into messages, one of the big things that happened is normally if you want to send a voice memo, right? So if you want to send this voice memo, you would normally have to hold down and then speak into it, say what you want to say, and then swipe up to send it. But now, with iPadOS Beta 6, all you have to do is tap it, and it starts to record, it starts to say exactly what you want, and then when you're done, you just tap on here, and then send it away, or press X to stop it and not actually send it out. So again, instead of holding it down, which is what you needed to do on all other previous ones, you can now literally just tap, a little bit more intuitive, probably a little bit more accidental just in case, so it's probably like, you're probably gonna send some butt voice memos now because all you have to do is tap it instead of hold it, but that's a new addition to iMessage and to voice recording. Another interesting one is actually inside of settings, if you go into accessibility, then go into touch, and I remember living in the touch menu, in the accessibility touch menu with iPadOS 13, put a thumbs up down there if you guys remember all that, but if you continue on to assistive touch and then scroll down, there's now this option to use a game controller. So it says, allow assistive touch to be controlled by a game controller. So probably what that means is like, it will allow somebody to control the entire OS via an Xbox or PlayStation controller, which I think is awesome. And I tried to do that, I remember thinking that it would happen natively, but obviously it didn't happen. Now, all you have to do is toggle it on, connect a controller, and you're good to go. Another one that was noticed, which I actually can't show you because I don't have the Magic Mouse, but now with the Magic Mouse, which has that, it doesn't have 2 separate buttons, it just has that one plane, that one glass plane. Now you have the ability to add a secondary touch to the Magic Mouse, which is something that you couldn't do before for some reason. So now you can treat it like a normal mouse with the double click and the right click, which is nice to have with the Magic Mouse. The next thing that I do want to show you is if you try to download something now within Safari, normally up here you'll get a little download screen saying that it's downloading and then you'll be able to manage them. But now let's say if I want to download something, so let's download a linked file. You now see that there's a little blue icon right here, which is new. Before it wasn't blue, but now it is. I don't know if that's anything new, anything different, but if you go to downloads right here, then you can see that we have these 2 downloads right here. So nothing too crazy, just now you have a little blue indicator icon to let you know that you have tried to download something. And that's pretty much it when it comes to new features. Leave some comments down below if you guys recognize any other ones or anything newer or something a little bit more tangible. But the next thing I do want to touch on is actually battery performance and see how it's held up over time. So let's go into the battery performance, go down to battery, see how we're doing right here. So the last 10 days, we're dealing with an hour of screen on time, right? But again, it wasn't really used this weekend because we were busy, but these 2 days over here is the best way to really see how much battery usage and how much battery life you can get out of your iPad. So on a day like, what is that, Tuesday? We're dealing with about 4 hours and 1 minute of screen on time, and we used about 75 to 70% of our battery with that 4 hours. So I think that we could get anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of battery life if we were to continue to use it how we were using it. But you can see that LumaFusion with 51% took up about an hour and 18, but then you see something like YouTube, which only took up an hour and 23 minutes and 23%. So pretty much the same amount of time of usage, but less than half the amount of battery used. And again, whenever people want to try to save battery on their iOS devices, go into this setting, go to your 10-day forecast, and see what has been taking up the most amount of battery, why that's the case, and again, which applications are more task intensive and task heavy versus not, right? So again, you can see that YouTube, photos, Spotify, those are all leisure, those are all for listening and video watching, versus LumaFusion, that's a video editor, so I'm going to be using a lot more power while editing with LumaFusion. But again, 4 hours and 1 minute of screen on time. Let's click on this one. 2 hours and 34 minutes of screen on time with about 75% of the battery used. And again, 32% from YouTube, and then you have LumaFusion over here, 21 minutes, took up 17%. So again, it really starts to add up quickly. But that's pretty much going to do it for all the new features in iPadOS 15 Beta 6. Let's get out of this view and go to the normal view. So that is pretty much it, everybody. Like you saw, there weren't too many tangible differences, and we're still trying to push this iPad to get to that 10 hours battery life. But I always reiterate, right, that if you're maybe just watching YouTube, if you're just surfing the web, you're going to get a good amount of usage out of this iPad, especially if you're using it without the Magic Keyboard. But the second you get into very intense tasks like doing a lot of Word documents, a lot of Microsoft files, PowerPoints, things with animations, video editing, photo editing, having multitasking going on, then you're gonna go down to that 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe hours of screen on time, especially if you're on the Magic Keyboard all the time like I am. Like my iPad does not come off of that Magic Keyboard unless I'm using one application, and that one application is Affinity Photo. Because I just like it when it's on the actual table. I like the canvas a little bit better because I don't like it when it's propped up. But I digress. That's what's going to happen when it comes to battery performance. You're just going to want to make sure that you're staying plugged in, making sure that you're following best practices. And I'm going to have a video kind of explaining, especially once iPadOS 15 goes out to everybody, I'm going to have a video kind of highlighting the best practices of battery life and keeping your battery, as ready and keep it as long as possible, because you don't want 2-3 years to come down the road and you need to replace your battery because you didn't take care of it. And that was my case with the 2018 iPad Pro. I did the worst practices when it came to battery life. But that's going to do for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to check out channel sponsor Paperlike. Let me know what you guys think about this nice little backdrop. We're trying something new a little bit. But like I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, peace.